you're able to connect at a different level if you can speak the language.
Really?
Really?
And we're gonna start with how can you achieve fluency in any language?
Well, I mean, you have to start from the premise that you don't have the language in you. So you have to do a lot of listening and reading. A lot of people think it's a matter of learning how to say a few things, you know, hello, how are you? My name is. That won't get you very far because you don't understand what they're saying back at you. And even to be able to use a few words, to remember them, you actually need to have a broader base of comprehension. So the key to me is a lot of listening and reading done, you know, in a systematic way, which is what we do on our website. You know, I'll give you an example. I was in Vietnam for a week. So we went with my wife, we went to Vietnam and then to Myanmar. So I said, oh yeah, Vietnam, I should learn up some Vietnamese. So I went and bought a few books with tapes and I was listening to stuff and I'm trying to drill even a few phrases into my brain. I was in Vietnam for a week. All I can say in Vietnam is come on, like thank you.
Come on.
Come on. Only because it sounds like come on. In other words, it's very difficult to remember anything in language learning. It's very difficult. If you try to drill, and the more you try and drill a few things into your brain, the less you're actually learning. So the secret is to expose yourself to so much of the language through listening and reading, and then eventually speaking. But initially listening and reading, that you're just inundating your brain with the new language, and the brain will start to sort things out. And you can go and consult a grammar if you want, and that's fine, but you won't remember the rules, you won't remember the tables, you won't remember the explanations, but it kind of helps. Ultimately, the brain has to sort it out on its own, and the brain will do that if you give it enough exposure.
Did you like Vietnam?
Oh yeah, I had a great time. We didn't see very much. I mean, you know, you can't, any country, Vietnam is a lot smaller country than Canada, but you can't go and see everything, right? So we decided to go to Hanoi. We went to Ha Long Bay. We went up to, was it Sapa or something, up in the highlands where the minority people live? Something
well,
like
I don't know. I was born in America, so I wouldn't know.
Anyway, I mean, it was a blast, really. It's, you know, it's a very dynamic country. I mean, they want to get ahead. They want to move. Like other countries in Asia, you know, Japan, Korea, China, they want to get ahead and they're hardworking and they're friendly. And I mean, there are a few things that are still sometimes, you know, you go a 6-hour bus ride and you stop for a toilet break and the facilities are pretty grim. But other than that, overall impression is very positive.
Okay, thank you. What are the process and step of learning any language to be able to understand it, like really understand it? Because I tried a couple of fields too, like, you know how like I think you understand this too, where, you know, they try to market to people where, you know, you try to learn what in 3 months or like, I don't know, like 30 days or something. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And it usually doesn't work out. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're looking at languages that are very similar, like Spanish, Portuguese, you're looking at a minimum of a year. And of course, the more hours a day you put in, the faster you're going to go. But the average person, like if I have, like right now with Greek, I've been at it for 6-7 months. You know, on Link, my known word count is at about 7,000. I would like to get to about 15 or 20,000. So I know it's a year. It's a year, and that's a language. It's a European language. So it's a little it's more difficult than learning German, but it's not tremendously difficult. You know, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, whatever, is going to be longer. Like, it takes time.
How do you deal with all the learning language and how do you like juggle all the language you're learning?
Well, I mean, I try to focus on one. So I'm exposing myself to a lot of listening and reading, a lot of content, and hopefully I'm able to find things of interest, you know, to listen to and read. Like, you can only deal with learner content, you know, hello, my name is John, this is my wife Mary. You can only listen to that stuff so much. After a while, it's just too boring. Yeah. So you have to find something that's interesting, which in my various language studies, I've been able to find, whether it be the history of the country or whatever. No. And you just expose yourself to it and don't get frustrated. Don't be in a hurry. Don't worry about what you can't say. Don't worry about what you forget, because you're going to keep forgetting. And just keep going. That's the process.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You have very what's that? Very open-minded. Can like you say you listen learn one language at a time, but also you talk about in a couple of your video about multiple language. Can you really learn multiple language at a time?
Well, you know, in a way, I tried it. I was with my wife. We were in Israel and then Greece. So I began by saying, well, I'm going to try to learn a little of both. Doesn't work because, first of all, Greek is easier than Hebrew. So in the end, I spend less time. You like to go where there's the least resistance. So the Hebrew was tougher. So I started not spending as much time on the Hebrew. It takes a fair amount of concentration. You don't want the distraction. So what I